Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're talking about something huge. Monuments of concrete and steel that tame the world's mightiest rivers. Megadams. They promise clean energy and protection from floods. But what is the real cost of rewriting a river's story? Let's dive in. At its heart, a dam is a radical reorganization of the water cycle. By blocking a river, it creates a massive artificial lake. This isn't just a dam, it's a complete change to the river's rhythm. Rivers have a natural pulse, a cycle of high and low flows dictated by the seasons. Dams flatline this pulse. The natural floods that deposit nutrient-rich soil on floodplains are stopped. The wetlands that rely on them shrink. Then there's the practice of hydropeaking, where sudden releases of water are timed to meet peak electricity demand. This causes unnatural water level fluctuations that can strand fish and tear away riverbanks. But perhaps the biggest unseen impact is sediment. Rivers carry billions of tons of silt and sand to the sea, building the deltas where they meet the ocean. A dam acts like a giant sediment trap. The water that flows out is now clear and, quote, hungry, and it begins to erode the riverbed and banks downstream, which can undermine bridges and other infrastructure. At the coast, the deltas, starved of their building material, begin to shrink and subside. The Nile Delta, since the construction of the Aswan High Dam, is a prime example of this, making coastal communities far more vulnerable to rising sea levels. Finally, a dam is a wall. For migratory fish like salmon, sturgeon, and giant catfish, it's often an insurmountable barrier, cutting them off from their spawning grounds. This fragmentation of river habitats has led to a dramatic decline in freshwater biodiversity. The construction of the Itaipu Dam on the Parana River, for instance, is reported to have led to a 70% loss in local biodiversity. This reshaping of rivers comes at an immense human cost. The World Commission on Dams estimates that between 40 and 80 million people have been displaced by dams worldwide. Imagine your home, your farm, your entire community submerged under a new reservoir. The process of involuntary resettlement is often plagued by inadequate compensation and the loss of social cohesion, leaving people impoverished and disconnected. In China, the Manwan Dam displaced double the official number of people estimated, with the resettlement process suffering from insufficient oversight. For those who remain downstream, life is also upended. In the Mekong River Basin, millions of people depend on fishing for their food and income. But with migration routes blocked and habitats altered, fish catches have plummeted. The Pak Mun Dam in Thailand has been blamed for a sharp drop in local fish stocks, leading to protests and hardship. Floodplain agriculture also suffers, as the land no longer receives its annual gift of fertile sediment from natural floods, threatening the food security of entire communities. Proponents of megadams argue it's worth it for the clean energy and economic growth, but a growing body of evidence suggests these benefits are often overestimated. An Oxford University study found that, on average, the construction costs of large dams are 90% higher than their initial budgets, and they almost always experience schedule overruns. These massive debts can saddle developing countries for decades. Today, the frontier for dam building has shifted from Europe and North America to Asia, South America, and Africa, with China as the world's most prolific builder. These projects are often symbols of national pride and political power. But when a river crosses international borders, a dam in one country can become a source of intense conflict with its neighbors. This brings us to the geopolitical flashpoints. Look at the Nile River. Ethiopia is building the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD. For Ethiopia, it's a ticket to economic development and energy independence. For Egypt, which relies on the Nile for over 95% of its fresh water, the dam is viewed as an existential threat to its water security. This dispute is a stark preview of potential 21st century water wars. Or consider China's Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River. At the time it was built, it was the world's largest hydropower project. It generates immense power and aids in flood control, but it also displaced over 1 million people, submerged priceless cultural sites, and had a profound impact on the river's ecosystem, contributing to the decline of species like the Chinese sturgeon and the extinction of the Baiji dolphin. In Southeast Asia, a cascade of dams on the Mekong River, primarily in China and Laos, is altering the flow and trapping the sediment that is the lifeblood for 65 million people. Fish catches are down, the fertile Mekong Delta is shrinking, and the food security of the entire region is at risk. And in the Amazon, a global treasure, the Belo Monte Dam in Brazil has flooded vast tracts of pristine rainforest, displaced indigenous communities, and threatened the survival of numerous unique species, all for a project criticized for its economic inefficiency. So what's the alternative? The answer isn't to stop progress, but to be smarter about it. Instead of another mega dam, we can improve the efficiency of existing water and energy systems. We can invest in decentralized renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which are becoming increasingly cost competitive and have a much smaller environmental footprint. Small-scale, run-of-the-river hydropower projects can also be an option, provided their cumulative impacts are carefully assessed. We can also use non-structural solutions for flood management, like restoring wetlands and floodplains to act as natural sponges. The key is a shift in thinking towards what's called integrated water resources management, a holistic approach that considers the needs of all stakeholders and the health of the ecosystem, not just the engineering challenge. Megadams are a powerful symbol of human ambition. They show our ability to reshape the planet on a colossal scale. But they are also a profound lesson in consequences. They teach us that a river is more than just a channel of water. It's a lifeline for ecosystems and civilizations. As we face a future of growing populations and a changing climate, moving beyond the era of the megadam towards a more sustainable and equitable way of managing our most vital resource isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.